Searching the world for a reason why. Every answer led him farther away, till he heard the silence speak one day. No flashing signs, no voice from above, no miracle cure, no promised love, just a whisper buried deep inside, a hidden strength he could not deny. When the noise fades away and the shadows lose their hold, silent power, burning like a fire in the soul. Silent power, making broken spirits whole. You don't need permission, you don't need a crown. The power to heal is inside you all along. Silent power, standing strong when hope is gone. The world keeps sailing another way, another ransom for another day.
What's up, guys?
To the strength he thought he lacked. The scars remain, but they changed their name. No longer weakness, no longer shame. Every wound became a guide, showing where the light survives. When the storm begins to rise, fear is growing cold. Silent power, burning like a fire in the soul. Silent power, making broken spirits whole. You don't need permission, you don't need a crown. The power to heal was inside you all along. Silent power, standing strong when hope is gone. Close your eyes, hear your heartbeat thunder. Feel the strength you carried all along. Not in fortune, not in fame, not in someone else's name. The answer waits inside your own soul. Silent power, stronger than the darkest night. Silent power, turning pain into the light. Every setback, every fall to the ground, built the strength that lifts you now. Silent power, the truth you finally found. Snowball Joe looked across the sky, no longer asking himself why. The power to heal, the power to grow was never lost, it was always there below. Silent power. Silent power. Silent power.
My friend Evil Eddie made this. Go check him out. He's been making some really, these are bangers. And it's going to link into what I want to talk about tonight. Basically, how to help use the earth to heal yourself, and how we have forgotten that. So what I'm referring to is basically, let me rewind this a little bit so those other things aren't up, and it will just look like that as the background. Okay. So we have come, we evolved from basically cavemen to agricultural people, and we're closely connected with the earth. That's what we live off of, hunt off of, fish off of, plant off of, everything like that. Hello, Whiteout. Um, so, and I just want to say, so Whiteout, this one will be help how to use the earth to help heal yourself. So we come from cavemen and have evolved to an agricultural society. Now we are more into a industrial revolution. Okay, and that's going to be a more tech revolution coming up soon, if that doesn't fail. So we are agricultural people. We still we that's what we come from. So that close connection with the earth, respect for the earth, appreciation for it, everything like that, it is really powerful and important. It's kind of missing from our modern day. So just 100 years ago, even maybe, we'll say 100 years ago, so 1920. Okay, we still had we had some cars, we had like we still had some technology, but we were still largely agricultural people. Farming was huge. Making your own garden, your own victory garden. Okay, having chickens, having animals, all that type of stuff. That is, and now we look at it and we call that organic food. They were just calling it food. And the process of gardening, getting your hands in the dirt in particular, is really, really, really helpful. We view dirt as something bad. We don't appreciate it. We think it's dirt. Oh, that's dirty. He soiled himself. They want you to think of dirt as kind of like shitty and bad. And it's actually something you kind of actually want to get on your hands and body. It's nothing to be afraid of. And that really helps to build up the immune system and the bacteria on your hands and body and everything like that. So that's what we're going to start off with. We're going to take a look at what this doctor has to kind of say about this. I haven't seen this video, but I'm aware of the concept here. Let's give this guy credit for fair use. Aaron Hartman, medical doctor, 6 months ago. Let's see what he has to say on this topic. And I'm going to pause it as we go.
A little bit about dirt and its influence on our health. I do briefly talk about this in my book, Uncurable from Hopeless Diagnosis to Defying All Odds, but I want to take a little behind the scenes deep dive into soil health and how it actually impacts human health. I was talking with someone.
So right there, soil health. So like there's a couple things here. So number one, there's various levels of soil and grades of soil, and some of it's good, some of it's bad, some of it's just sand or gravel. That's why the desert, you can't plant anything. It's just sand. There's no minerals. There's nothing to help it grow. So the soil is really important. The soil is where we get our minerals from, basically. And our body is basically comprised of minerals. And being mineral deficient, we're all just used to being mineral deficient. Most Americans and everybody is magnesium deficient, at least. I just did like a thing where I cut my hair and sent it in. And it tells you if you're kind of like deficient in some minerals and some foods that you are probably going to be allergic to or should stay away from and stuff like that. I think potassium or something I was low in. But so the quality of the soil itself has a lot to do with the plant that is produced. Good quality soil looks kind of like black and kind of like coffee grounds, actually.
I was doing an interview and they were asking me, like, who are my mentors? Who do I look up to? And it was hard for me to pick one because every year it's someone different. For the last 15 years, I'd find an expert in the field. And what led me down the soil as health thing was actually meeting Joel Salatin, who I've interviewed on my podcast, reading some of his books.
So see, this guy, this was the average guy in 1920. They all had a little bit of this. Like not everything was as built up. They're more, like I said, agricultural. They had an appreciation for the earth, and they just worked with the earth more in general, and animals and chickens and stuff. So like that's missing from us now. A lot of us just live in an apartment, and you haven't even touched dirt in years because you don't really have a need to or reason to, besides some of these health benefits, which I'm going to get into.
Books, and then being introduced to other characters in the past, like Sir Albert Howard, who was a entomologist in the British Empire before World War One, and he realized in India, he was actually put over in India to figure out how to maximize food production for the empire at that point in time. And one of the things he saw was that people who did traditional farming methods actually had healthier animals, and the people were healthier. The people had less diseases, less tuberculosis, less pneumonias. They were taller. And so it was really one of those strange things like, what's going on? So he actually as a scientist, started studying and realized that what the difference was is people using chemical fertilizers and natural fertilizers. In the 1800s, you may or may not know that initially we used bat guano that was being shipped from the Pacific over to Europe as a nitrogen-based fertilizer. After World War One, we realized, hey, you can use chemical nitrogen, and they kind of moved away from using bat, which was kind of hard to get and really expensive.
I think that is like bat shit. I'm not exactly sure.
And they were actually using that in India. And one of the things that happened was that the soil that was used on became acidic, and it actually didn't grow healthy yeast and healthy bacteria. So one of the things with soil science is, soil is basically minerals, rocks that are kind of broken down and ground up with humus, organic material. What happens is bacteria and yeast in the soil secrete acids like humic acid, fulvic acid, dissolve minerals, and the minerals actually get incorporated into the plant. So you have to have this healthy symbiosis between healthy soil that has a mixture of crushed rocks, basically crushed minerals, and humus, which is organic material, compost. That's kind of where compost comes from. And you need a healthy soil like that, because then
and what comprises of a healthy soil? Biodiversity. You actually want biodiversity in there.
Soil can incorporate all of these rare. There's like 98 rare earth minerals that mammals need, for example, for health. If animals are fed only grain, they get about 60, 65 of those minerals. So if you're fed a grain diet and you're an animal, human, whatnot, you will actually automatically develop nutrient deficiency.
So also too, they're just eating this grass in the field, but I'll just let it play. Actually,
he was seeing that the places where animals ate only stuff growing on chemical fertilizer, that the soil is acidified, that those animals weren't as healthy. And then the humans that consumed the milk from the, I believe it was goats and sheep, eggs from the chickens, etc. So they were not as healthy. And he kind of narrowed it down to, there's something about the soil. Soil and Health is actually the name of his book, that changes the health of plants. And so I started thinking, cows are mammals, humans are mammals. Are there rare earth minerals that we need for our health? How would we get them? Because I'm not eating, tons of grass a day or whatever and chewing.
So that's another thing that the people used to be kind of a little healthier, more robust, because they were less mineral depleted. And right now we are very mineral depleted. If we're only buying foods from Walmart and stuff like that, they don't have all the minerals the body needs. And when you're mineral deficient, you just can't be right. And like these little minerals can really add a lot. For example, magnesium is a common one that most people are deficient in. And magnesium helps over 400 processes in the body. cellular processes and stuff. So that's just one thing that can affect 400 other things. And now they are smaller things. It's not like if you don't have enough magnesium, you can't see. But all those subtleties really, really, build up. And the body just doesn't have the certain fuels it needs. And you only need small amounts of a lot of this stuff.
18 hours a day. Like we're omnivores, not ruminators, right? So I started thinking about how do humans, and what I realized was animals, ruminators, will concentrate minerals from the soil in their bones and milk. I mean, that's where's calcium come from in milk? It comes from the cow concentrating it from the grass. Where's protein come from in beef and in milk? It comes from the cow fermenting grass, turning it into amino acids that then that animal's body turns into protein. So all of a sudden realizing, is there a connection between that affects humans' health? And so one of the things I also was learning about is the history of nutrient deficiencies and how we still have nutrient deficiencies today. And we've talked about this a lot in other places, but started to realize these rare earth minerals that humans get through eating organ meat, through bone broth is one of the biggest sources of those.
And a lot of us don't eat the organ meat. So the liver is really, really high in tons of minerals. I think it's really high in iron and stuff. I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but now and then I'll go eat some liver meat and stuff like that. And I actually made a video for how to make your cat live longer and stuff. And that's one of the key things that I was saying. You want to feed it. So when you're getting the wet food cans, first off, this cat trick will apply to us as well. We want to eat, let me go back to where this cow is right here. This little picture of it munching on some grass, and it will, yeah. So just like this cow or my cat, I'll use the cat as the example, and then I'll relate it to the cow and tie it back to us. So my cat, for example, I could just go buy a case of wet food, okay? That has, I don't know, 20 cans in it per se. You don't want to do that. You want to diversify what it eats. So a couple days eat, because cats eat all sorts of stuff, shrimp, cod, but you want to really focus on the organ meats. You can have liver, hearts, turkey giblets, shit like that. You want to get a whole bunch of those, and not a can or two a day, but I would say like a can a day. And so they're getting a higher concentration of what they need. Most people are just feeding it the same thing every day because it's cheaper, or you could buy it in bulk. Don't do that. Buy a couple cans of this, a couple cans of this, a couple cans of this, a couple cans of this. Almost three. And also do that with the kibble. So in its kibble dish, which you always leave some out, put a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. And you want different ingredients in it, okay? And try to not have them made as Chinese ingredients. So a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, and just have it so it's always getting a diversity in there. And that diversity, the cat's gut, and including like our gut and stuff, need to build different bacteria and enzymes and everything, and different bugs inside of itself to eat that up, digest that, break it down. Okay. And a ton of those contain a lot of different minerals and stuff. So you're kind of like making a multivitamin through food. So this cow here, for example, and this is where a lot of this stuff comes in. It's just eating grass, and that's good. That's okay. Let's just say it's organic grass, but you want it to eat some like alfalfa, dandelion. You actually want it eating all these weeds because it has a different profile. It's got a different energy to it. So when that goes into the cow, and the cow has a couple stomachs, they all work differently. So ultimately that makes the cow's tissue, the meat that you're going to eat, a more diversified profile, healthier, more minerals and stuff. Okay. These things are subtle things, but they're actually really important. So I hope that makes some sense here. So like if it's out in the field, they could have dandelion, alfalfa, clover, poison ivy, a bunch of stuff. They'll eat that stuff. So that's kind of what you want. This is when diversity is really good.
Turns into protein. So all of a sudden realizing, is there a connection between how do we, that affects humans' health? And so
let me go back to where we were.
And then from that led me down to the pathway of Weston A. Price, who was a dentist in the 1940s, I believe. His son died from a dental.
He looks kind of like an evil fuck.
Abscess, and he went on this crusade around the world to figure out why. And he realized that people who eat, it didn't matter where in the world they were, whether the Mari, whereas the Logenstahl Valley in Switzerland, people who eat a traditional diet, not processed grains, what they can grow, catch in their local environment, they tend to be healthier, taller, and they didn't get cavities, which was really amazing for that time in history because cavities were rampant throughout.
Why do they not get cavities? I'll tell you why right now without him even telling me. Your teeth are basically like minerals. It's calcium and a shit ton of minerals. That's what your teeth are. Your teeth are just like a manifestation of a bunch of minerals and stuff. So, and one reason why grain, they talk about grain so much, is grain is sort of easy to grow, but it doesn't have a lot of diversity to it. As if they're, the cows are eating from the field. So grain was also pushed by like the Kellogg family and stuff like that too. And they tell you grains are the best for you. Whole wheat grain and different grain. Like a grain is a grain pretty much. You want the cows and even yourself eating, dandelion, alfalfa, clover, fucking arugula, Swiss chard. Okay. On and on and on. But that's why they don't get the cavities, because their teeth are not mineral deficient. If your teeth are not mineral deficient, they won't get weak. And a cavity is just a soft spot where you didn't mineralize it enough. They even have some chewing gums and stuff now that start to remineralize your teeth.
Europe and the United States at that point in time, they had broader palates. And in facial, it's really interesting when people are malnourished, it changes your head structure and your facial structure. So one of the first things that happens is your jaw will become smaller, your midface becomes smaller. Your body wants to preserve your brain, right? And so he would see that families, like in the Aborigines in Australia, for example, who moved out of the bush, moved into the city, their kids and grandkids, they would have their facial structure would be different. They would have crowding of their teeth. They would have smaller jaws. And it's interesting, now we're seeing more sleep apnea related to some of these mid-facial things as well, but another topic for another day. But the point is like learning from these individuals how important diet was for facial structure and for health was taught to me by Weston A. Price, a guy who died, I don't know, probably over half a century ago. And so part of my journey has not just been, studying under smart people currently, and it's been learning from the past, learning from traditions and wisdom of the past. And so another caveat, if you want to go back, 4,000 years ago, in Ayurvedic texts, they were talking about using ghee to treat neurological conditions that today we'd consider like Parkinson's illness. And so I first heard about.
So that medicine he's talking about is Indian.
I'm like, that's kind of weird. Like, why would ghee help with these kind of things? Well, as I got into lipid medicine, and I was learning under Patricia Kane, one of the things I learned about that is butyrate actually is the thing we use in lipid medicine all the time to actually burn off toxins in mitochondria. It actually helps rejuvenate cell metabolism, mitochondrial function, helps get out lipid rafts as well as long-chain fatty acids, which are horrible for cell function. It's one of several things that help burn that off. But so butyrate, great. And there's actually an FDA-approved product that's currently used for symptoms of ALS that has phenylbutyrate in it. But the point is like, what is nature's best source for this? And I learned, wait a second, it's ghee. So then it's one of those things, how did these ancient people 4,000 years ago connect the dots? And that's where intuition and observation, that's one thing.
Well, it's also too is that the way science works now and everything, we overcomplicate everything. They're like, we need to know its mineral profile. We need to know this, and we need to study this and test it on a rat and do like a bunch of stuff like that. Back then, people would just kind of be able to intuitively understand that. So it's not like they were necessarily way smarter. Like things are a traditional way for a reason because they're working. And that wisdom has been acquired over time from trial and error. You know, it used to be like, hey, if you eat this red berry, you're dead. But if you eat this blueberry, you're going to feel great. So that's part of it. But the current way that science works is we are complicating a system. When you complicate a system too much, it has more points to fail. There's more points to fail. When you have a simple system, there's less points to fail. So like that's kind of the way science is looking at it. But back then, just this way of doing it's almost a cycle. You start off with a very simple system at the bottom, which is what they're going to talk about here. And then as time goes on, you complicate it to the point where it starts to fail because it's overly complicated. And then it crashes and you start back. You have to reset down to the simplistic way again.
The ancient Greeks did was just observing things and learning through observation, which unfortunately our current culture is kind of left behind. But that enabled me to realize there's actually wisdom in ancient wisdom, but you have to parse out things like obviously illnesses aren't caused by evil humors in our body and stuff like that. But the point being is that each step of the way, whether it was my wife introducing me to real food or which led me down a pathway, and then me meeting therapists and reading a book that led me down a pathway, doing that year after year after year, that's what enabled us every year to have new therapies, new things to do with my daughter. And it's bled into my practice of medicine. So much so that there'll be times where I'll be reading and learning things and seeing a new patient in the clinic a couple weeks later. I'm like, I did not know this a month ago, and I'm literally seeing you now, and I know it, and I can help you. So it's really a cool place to be, but also a little stressful because you can't ever stop learning. You can't ever stop looking for new things because people are going to keep on coming to you, asking you questions, and wanting you to help them. And we become the pit stop for individuals looking for.
So he's kind of just jabbering on now about we'll just complete the video.
Outside the box thinking, outside the box care. So I hope that was a little help behind the scenes on how I think, what's shaped my thinking, and hopefully it helps give you a little bit deeper insight into the book, Uncurable: From Hopeless Diagnosis to the Final Odds. And the question is, how can you apply this to yourself? It's in the book as well.
Okay. So he spoke to a little bit of what I wanted to speak about, but so the point of what that I've been going on about here is, I'm just going to have this up as the background. Like I said, we evolved from cavemen to an agricultural society to the Industrial Revolution to going to be the tech revolution now. Along the way, we're losing the interaction with the earth itself. Some people have an office job and live in an apartment. Unless they have a little plant on their balcony, they're never really going to touch any dirt ever. Touching dirt and everything, that's what builds up the good bacteria on your hands. That's what builds up the immune system. People tend to feel better after they're touching dirt. Why do you think kids want to go play in the dirt and mud? Because instinctually, they probably don't know that, but a part of them actually does know that. So, it's good. It's good for a lot of things. It's good for the mental health, but really the physical health is really, really important. You want to be touching dirt. It's super important. And again, they demonize it to sound like, oh, it's dirt, it's dirty. You soiled yourself, et cetera, et cetera. Your grandparents were always in the dirt. They were planting, even if it's just a small tomato plant or whatever, that's good. So again, a lot of the foods that we're eating are not grown in good soils, and the soil is also sprayed with chemicals and stuff like that. So everyone's kind of walking around mineral deficient, and that's kind of where a lot of these drugs come in. The drugs are kind of trying to compensate for various mineral deficiencies that people have. Like, again, I'll talk about magnesium one more time. So if magnesium helps, if you're really, really deficient on magnesium, like your heart doesn't beat the right way. Your muscles, you get a little bit shaky in your hands. Your muscles don't work right. You psychologically don't feel as calm and relaxed. Your blood doesn't flow the right way. That's just one mineral. That's just one of those. If you don't have enough like selenium, your immune system can't function the right way. Like I was low on selenium when I did, my test thing. Sulfur is crazy important. Sulfur is the third most used thing in your body. And I'm going to talk about benefits of sulfur. In the sulfur cycle. This looks like a good one here. Ooh, this is old school shit. I like this.
Sulfur is an incredible and terribly important mineral that somehow is being completely forgotten. There's no RDA, there's no recommended intake of sulfur. And yet,
and that's another thing too. The RDAs that they do are retarded. Vitamin C, they're like, oh, you only need 120 milligrams of vitamin C. You could have like 10x that, no problem. And when you're sick, the body actually will require that. But they tell you, like, so they love to do that stuff. So who is that set by the government? And the government wants to sell you things. That's why like the Kellogg family was like, oh, they put grains at the bottom of the pyramid and stuff like that. So Big Sugar wants to push its thing and stuff like that. So those are always in play. But that's what I'm saying. If you get things directly from the earth, it kind of cuts out the middleman of them saying you can't have this or this is the right amount and everything. It's like the God-given amount.
we depend on sulfur and also what are called sulfur-containing amino acids. The body is built out of amino acids. And the sulfur-containing amino acids are found very strongly in eggs and onions and garlic.
It's in a lot of white things that are white. I think he'll go on about that more, but sulfur is kind of like white. It's in things that are white like that,
which also have a little bit of that sulfurous smell. In the old days, people used to go
sulfur smell is kind of bad
to sulfur springs, where the water was high in sulfur to heal their ailments, particularly their aching joints or eczematic skin. And there is a form of sulfur called MSM.
It's going to say MSM. So MSM came from the horse world, believe it or not. It's a form of sulfur. I forget what the M's are for right now, but MSM comes actually from the horse world, and it's really powerful for joints and everything, and kind of can help pull things from the body in the sulfur cycle. So it's like it's almost like a detoxifier, like the zeolite stuff that I keep telling you guys about. And most people pair it with high dose vitamin C, so they call it like MSM plus C, because it's working on like tissue, joints, and everything like that,
which is very, very absorbable. And supplementing sulfur is often excellent if you do have conditions like eczema, skin problems, but also any inflammatory problem. So it tends to reduce the severity of allergic type reactions. If you have arthritis, eczema, asthma, other inflammatory problems, MSM as a supplement of sulfur really does help. But I'm a fan of eating onions and garlic and eggs. And I think part of the benefit is you're actually getting this vital but forgotten nutrient, and that is sulfur.
Nice. I like this guy. So, Let me see, maybe find a little bit more on sulfur. So sulfur. So another way you can get sulfur is you can go walk around barefoot. So we're going to also be talking about that, walking around barefoot, grounding, going in the forest, swimming. All those things ground the body, and that helps boost the body's natural healing abilities as well, without you really doing anything. And part of why do they say you want to walk around barefoot? Because you're usually walking in the dirt. That's good for you. Again, the dirt is healing. And let's actually see. So this guy, Dr. Joseph Mercola, is awesome. He has a really good book called EMF'd. A lot of things. He has a whole entire book that I've actually read on vitamin C, the different types of vitamin C, why they lie to you about vitamin C, intravenous vitamin C, liposomal vitamin C, what happens if you take a lot of vitamin C, and so on and so forth. I'm just going to try a few random spots here and see what he says. And by the way, that doctor is like banned from some things too.
Invasive animal microbe. And so the cell of the microbe is these lipopolysaccharides. These are complex sugars. And it's likely that the human doesn't actually have enzymes to break down all the different complicated sugars of all the different species that might come its way. So it needs to have a non-enzymatic method to break down that cell wall. And I think the non-enzymatic method that it uses is ferrous sulfate to break down the sugars in the walls of these
and our
invasive
body has
species.
its own supply of ferrous sulfate, because
Yeah,
typically if one is low in iron, that is considered an inorganic form of supplementation, relatively poor one, because it's potentially
When it comes to iron, eat from a cast. So if you have if you go into your kitchen right now and you have Teflon pots and pans and stuff, throw it away. It's poison. Either get stainless steel or cast iron. When you eat from cast iron, it gives you a little bit more iron. It tastes good. They last a long time. You don't even have to clean it as much. So in my mind, it's superior. But I want to go. Well, let's let him talk another minute.
toxic if you take it in
I
excess.
know,
It
iron is
can
very
kill
tricky.
people.
And in fact, iron toxicity shows up a lot, and I think it's because there's not enough sulfate.
Interesting.
It's not binding.
So this might be a simpler explanation of why it's relative to well, this is going to be about minerals in the body, but dirt and the earth it's all minerals.
Body needs over a dozen minerals to survive.
Zinc, magnesium, calcium. Okay. We'll even speak about zinc for a second. So zinc is really important for men. Every time a man busts a nut, he basically loses like 3 grams of zinc or milligrams of zinc. Zinc helps in wound healing, healthy nails, good immune system, testosterone production, focus, clarity, a lot of things like that. And a lot of people are depleted in zinc. So if you were to go to the store and buy some testosterone supplement, the main ingredient is always zinc every single time. Every single time it's always zinc. Now there's many different forms of zinc. I think there's like zinc glutamate and a few other ones, but zinc is very important. In fact, they have some supplements called ZMA, zinc, magnesium, calcium, which you take it at night before you go to bed, and they say, let's boost your testosterone. But we'll talk about zinc a little longer. Zinc is, so when the body has an attack of a virus or something, okay, where zinc comes into play with the immune system. So when a virus comes into the body, it basically goes and it copies itself, until that viral load becomes so much where it starts to give symptoms and whatnot. Zinc is responsible for breaking that copy machine. So then the rest of the immune system, immune response can just kill whatever that is. So it's good for wound healing. It's good for a lot of things. Like I said, magnesium here is responsible for like 400 other cofactors. Zinc is probably for a lot as well. Calcium, when people think of calcium, like this will make your bones strong. No, it's teeth. It's a lot of things. And again, if you're eating from the earth where it's fully organic and you get out in the dirt and all that, you start to you get more you want to become more mineral rich.
If even one drops too low, things break. Your heart, your brain, your bones, your energy. So today, we're cutting the fluff and explaining every single mineral your body depends on, what it does, and the strange symptoms you get when you're missing it. Iron, the oxygen mover. Iron is one of the most important minerals in your body. Its job is simple but vital. Carry oxygen through your blood. Iron is part of hemoglobin, the protein that makes blood red. Every breath you take depends on it doing its job. When you don't get enough iron, things fall apart fast. You feel tired, weak, dizzy, and cold.
Because you don't have enough oxygen in your blood, so you're walking around like George Floyd breath. So basically, if you're iron deficient, how it felt so hot a couple days ago, that's kind of what it's like. You feel like you can't breathe because cellularly, on a cellular level, you're not breathing as much.
Your brain slows down. That's because your cells are basically starving for oxygen. Low iron is one of the most common mineral problems in the world, especially for women. You can find iron.
Why are they low on that? Because they have their period. When they have their period, they lose blood, and the blood is iron rich. That's why.
Iron in beef, liver, beans, lentils, spinach, and fortified cereals.
And cook with a cast iron pan. Throw your DuPont family poison ass Teflon non-stick piece of shit pan out, Teflon coated, and get yourself cast iron, and you put steak in it, potato, and some greens, and you're going to be all set.
But here's the twist. Your body absorbs iron from meat much better than iron from plants. So Popeye might have been stronger if he ate a steak instead of a can of spinach. Calcium, the bone builder. Calcium is the mineral your body uses the most. About 99% of it lives inside your bones and teeth, acting like the scaffolding that keeps you standing upright. The remaining 1% works behind the scenes, helping your muscles contract, your heartbeat, and your nerves send signals. But here's the catch. If you don't get enough calcium from food, your body will steal it from your bones to keep your heart and nerves working. Over time, this weakens your skeleton, leading to brittle bones and fractures later in life. You'll find calcium in milk, cheese, yogurt, fortified plant milks, almonds, and leafy greens. But calcium isn't a solo act. Your body can't absorb it well without vitamin D. So calcium is the builder, and vitamin D is like the contractor that tells it where to go.
Vitamin D is usually paired with vitamin K to help deliver it to the bones. So when you're taking vitamin D supplements, you really want to be pairing it with vitamin like K2.
Magnesium, the master mineral.
So let me go back to that about the vitamin D here. So right now it's the summertime, okay? People are out in the sunlight big time, and they're getting the vitamin D that they require. But a lot of us, I live in the Northeast, I live in New Hampshire, we are vitamin D deficient most of the year. And I work outside, so I get pretty much as much sunlight as I can most of the time. But you have to begin supplementing with vitamin D all through the winter and go pretty hard on it. Vitamin D is kind of like magnesium, which it's like responsible for like 400 cofactors of different things. Vitamin D is like that. If you're low in vitamin D, you can feel weaker. Your dick won't work. You'll be depressed. All those other things. And when they pair it with vitamin K2, that helps drive it into the bone better. So if you're getting a vitamin D, look for one that's like paired with K2 instead of just taking straight up vitamin D.
Magnesium, the master mineral. Magnesium is like the body's backstage crew. You don't see it, but nothing works without it. It helps run over 300 enzyme reactions, including
All right, I was wrong. I thought it was 400, but it's 300.
muscle movement, nerve function, energy production, and keeping a steady heartbeat. When magnesium is low, your body sends warning signs: muscle cramps, stress, trouble sleeping, and constant fatigue. In extreme cases, the heart can even fall out of rhythm. Most people today don't get enough magnesium thanks to processed food and low
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
mineral soil. You'll find
Yes, low mineral soil. Remember, I'm trying to make this one about the earth. In the earth, the soil is where it contains the minerals. That's how we got here. Yes, like I said, the low mineral soil. So that's what I'm saying, that your great grandparents and stuff had a little bit more of like a pure soil. And they also were like dealing with it more and eating less foods that are just less fucked with.
You'll find magnesium in nuts, seeds, whole grains, dark chocolate, and leafy greens. And unlike some minerals that are picky, magnesium plays nice with others, especially calcium and potassium, helping keep your muscles relaxed instead of locked up like a rusty hinge. Potassium, the fluid controller. Potassium is the mineral that keeps your fluids, nerves, and muscles in balance.
And I believe it's also like an electrolyte.
It works closely with sodium, like a push and pull system, to control your heartbeat, blood pressure, and muscle movements. When potassium is low, the signs are hard to miss: muscle weakness, fatigue, cramps, and a heartbeat that feels off. In serious cases, it can even lead to dangerous heart problems. Most people who eat a lot of salty or processed foods are low on potassium without realizing it. You can find potassium
Well, the salty foods are dehydrating you. When you're dehydrated, you're low on the electrolytes. Potassium's an electrolyte.
in bananas, potatoes, beans, oranges, tomatoes, and
So here's one other thing that I want to talk about Earth here. The Earth-related part is that why are potatoes healthy? Because they're always covered in that soil. You know, they're surrounded by minerals more than something like Swiss chard or something here that is rising up from the soil. That's why potato is so important.
leafy greens. Think of potassium as your body's electrician. It keeps the wiring stable so your signals don't short circuit. Sodium, the signal sender. Sodium often gets a bad reputation, but it's essential for life. It helps your nerves send signals.
Well, no, why does it get a bad reputation? Because we have fake salt. So it's probably going to go into iodine for this, but we have fake salt. We have salt that it's literally fake salt. You want sea salt. You want pink salt. You want salt with real minerals in it. If you have the salt on that table salt, it has no iodine and stuff. We don't have iodine. It causes a whole bunch of problems, goiters and all this other stuff. So you don't want like that. That's part of the sinister part of it. Like you can't just go and have table salt. You got to have sea salt, a high quality Celtic salt. So that's why salt gets a bad rap, because it's fake salt. It's like factory made salt.
Keeps fluids in balance and works with potassium to control muscle movement and blood pressure.
See, salt is also a way that people get minerals as well. It's another thing that you can do.
The problem isn't sodium itself, it's too much sodium. Modern diets are loaded with it, especially from processed and packaged foods.
And fake chips. Like they're not having sea salt on here and stuff. They'll say sea salt on the package, but it'll be like the cheapest shit you could imagine.
When sodium levels run wild, the body holds onto extra water, which can raise blood pressure and strain the heart over time. When sodium is too low, you can feel dizzy, confused, and weak. Your muscles may twitch and your brain can't fire signals the right way. So the goal isn't no sodium. The goal is the right amount. Most of which...
So I don't know if you guys have, well, it was Yeah, we just went over low iron a minute ago, and I was saying, Lauren, part of the reason why women tend to be a little bit lower in iron than men because they have their period. When they have their period, they lose blood. The blood contains a ton of iron. So what I would recommend for you, go into your kitchen and cook with cast iron. If you have a Teflon non-stick pan, that's actually like poisonous on there. It's actually meant to like feminize men. So if you have one of those like non-stick pans, get rid of that and get a cast iron pan. You'll have it forever. The food will taste better. You can clean it less and stuff too. So go get some cast iron stuff, and that will already kind of help boost your iron a little bit right there. And the food will taste better. It's actually more energy efficient too because it cooks more even. And then once you turn your burner off, it'll stay hot for like another like freaking 20 minutes. So go get cast iron.
Should come from whole foods, not.
If you can't do cast iron, maybe stainless steel, but I would say cast iron.
Salty snacks. Zinc, the repair mineral. Zinc is your body's fix-it mineral. It helps repair cells, heal wounds, support your immune system, and even plays a role in taste and smell.
Yep, and testosterone. So if any guys here are low testosterone or something, if you go to the store to buy some type of yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, we just went yeah, definitely do that. Also too, part of what I'm trying to do with this this live here. So another thing that you can do, Lauren, is get your hands in the dirt. Get barefoot, get in the dirt, get in some, do that more often. Go plant something in your backyard and dig with no gloves on. Don't wear gloves. Just, dig with no gloves on, handle the dirt, the soil. That's part of what I was trying to make this whole show about is it's interacting with the earth. That's just one form of interacting with the earth, but having dirt on your hands and stuff like that it helps us build the immune system. It really does a lot of stuff, and you'll actually kind of feel better. So that is another way that I don't know if it's going to give you like iron per se, but this is a part of the show that I wanted to talk about.
Without zinc, your body struggles to fight germs and recover from damage. Low zinc levels can lead to slow healing, hair loss, weak immunity, and a poor sense of taste or smell.
Yeah. So
in children,
another thing about, in children, they won't grow as well.
Long-term deficiency can even stunt growth.
Yeah. So another thing with zinc. So why do they say during COVID, like zinc was a good thing? Because I told you what zinc does. What zinc does is, so when a disease comes in, it takes over a cell, and it wants to go to death. It goes and it just copies itself. So zinc stops that copying machine. So the viral load cannot get out of control. Because we have viruses and stuff in our body all the time that it's always killing, fighting it off, it's coming back again and stuff like that. But the viral load is very, very low, so it's semi-undetectable. That's why people have things like herpes and stuff for a long time because it's still like lingering in there. So zinc helps do that. So a ton of those things where it's like a like those like zinc, the logenins. I'm kind of saying it wrong, but the things you put in your mouth when you're getting a cold and stuff like that, look for ones that have zinc, and half of them they have zinc. Like when they have all those airborne things and anything when you say you're getting a cold, like zinc is always going to be in there. Zinc is really, really important. More important for men. So like I said, men, when they bust the nut, lose like 3 milligrams of zinc, and probably a whole literal dickload of other like vitamins and minerals and stuff too.
Zinc is small but mighty. You can find zinc in meat, shellfish, beans, nuts, seeds, and whole grains. Your body doesn't store zinc well, so you need a steady supply. Like topping off a fuel tank that empties faster than you'd expect, iodine, The thyroid.
So iodine is the one that I was talking about that our salt doesn't have. So iodine's really important because I'm trying to, I don't want to just copy what this thing says. I want to talk about like what I know about it. So iodine is really important. It's important for the immune system, but it's also important for like brain function. If you don't have enough iodine or kids don't have enough iodine, they kind of become like retarded a little bit. The brain uses a lot of iodine. It's the immune system uses a lot of iodine, and like they're saying, the thyroid uses a lot of iodine. So if your body's feeling like cold all the time, that can sometimes be iodine. So it helps make the thyroid make like T3 and T4, like these I don't know if it's thyroid hormone or exactly what it is, but it's good for that. And I want you to think of it this way in the immune system. So if you go to the hospital or something, so I cut my hand recently on like a wood splitter, and I had to go to the hospital. I mean the urgent care, which I'm not going to go to the fucking urgent care again. That was garbage. But my point is, what do they use to help disinfect the cut? Iodine. What do they use sometimes when they're in disinfecting water and stuff? Iodine. So if it can help cleanse water, cleanse the cuts, it's almost like not quite a cleaner, but it's really important. And another thing that's further important about iodine, when you have, so most of the salt that's sold, it'll say this salt contains no iodine. That's where they had a thing in like the Midwest or something, because the people weren't eating enough. So another great way to get iodine is seafoods. That's a good way to get iodine as well. So I don't know. Maybe we'll just say it's I think it's 40s or something like that. Either way, it doesn't really matter. So the Midwest started having people having like a huge, like swollen thyroid, which is basically like located in your throat area. And they were having all these diseases. They called it, there was like an epidemic that it was called, but I think it's called goiters. And it's because they took the iodine out of the salt. So that's what I'm saying. A ton of the salt is fake salt. Real sea salt and stuff contains iodine in it. I don't know why the fuck they take it out. So iodine is really important. So that's another thing too. Like if you feel like you're getting, because you can get like drops of iodine. If you feel like you're getting sick, you can add a little bit more iodine. I did that during COVID, actually.
Thyroid's fuel. Iodine is the mineral that powers your thyroid gland, the tiny organ in your neck that controls your metabolism, energy, body temperature, and growth. Without enough iodine, the thyroid can't make its hormones and the entire system slows down. Low iodine can lead to fatigue, weight gain, a puffy face, low body temperature, and brain fog.
Yeah, that low body temp.
In extreme cases, the thyroid can swell, forming a goiter. Iodine deficiency is still a major problem in some parts of the world, especially where soil levels are low. You'll find iodine in iodized salt, seaweed, fish, dairy, and eggs.
Well, my question is, why do they even have salt that they've taken it out of?
It doesn't take much. Your daily requirement is tiny. But without it, your body can't keep its engine running at a normal speed. Selenium, the antioxidant shield. Selenium acts like your body's rust protection.
And when I had my test done recently, selenium is one of the ones I was low in.
It helps stop cell damage by fighting harmful molecules called free radicals. It also supports your thyroid and immune system, making it a quiet but powerful defender. When selenium is low, you may feel tired, foggy, or run down, and your immune system can weaken. In severe cases, deficiency can affect the heart or thyroid. On the other hand, getting too much selenium can be harmful too. So balance is key. You can find selenium in Brazil nuts, fish, eggs, whole grains, and meats. Fun fact, just one Brazil nut can provide most of your daily selenium needs. It's one of the few minerals where more is definitely not better. Copper, the support mineral.
Okay, copper. We're going to go into a whole thing of copper here. I have even a copper bracelet in my hand that I'm kind of playing with. Copper is really important. So copper has to be in a proper ratio with zinc. If you have too much zinc and not enough copper and vice versa, it's off in the body. But copper is almost kind of like silver in a sense. So if you drink from a copper cup, okay, it helps disinfect the water a little bit. If you have a pool and you put copper near where its filter is, you don't need to use as much chemicals. Copper is, they also call it the poor man's gold, but that's kind of how copper can work. So that's why they used to use like copper pitchers for water and stuff like that. So essentially, kind of, if you wanted to almost like make your water better, you could drink from copper cups, and it can't be a copper coated. It must got to be like made of copper. And I think it kind of, well, I'll just leave it at that. But copper, oh yeah, so like they have like copper bracelets with magnets in it, and they're saying that helps like speed up circulation and whatnot.
Copper helps your body use iron, form red blood cells, and build connective tissue. It also supports your immune system and plays a role in brain development. While you don't need much copper, you do need it working in the background. Low copper can lead to anemia, weak bones, and trouble with memory or coordination. On the flip side,
notice how a lot of them are related to weak bones, because the bones is just, your bones and teeth are just basically like a shit ton of minerals. It's a manifestation of like a shit ton of minerals. That's really like what they are. So that's how a cavity happens. You're mineral deficient, and then you're eating sugary foods. That sugar eats away at the enamel on the tooth. Once the enamel is worn away, it creates a little, what's a cavity? It's almost like a little hole. So more sugar gets in there, more sugar gets in there, more sugar gets in there, soda gets in there, bullshit gets in there, piece of food gets stuck in there. Because the minerals are not coming back enough to harden it up and keep it that way. They have gum now that can help restore the minerals in the teeth. So that's a way to think about it. So if you're getting a lot of cavities and all that, you're probably, mineral deficient. But we are so trained here to be sheep where they're like, oh, you got to go to the dentist and stuff. And you do have to go for some things, but guys, remember, the dentist works for the, not the FDA. Well, they do work for the FDA, kind of it's like the American Dental Association. American Dental Association is mostly like bullshit that wants to sell only Crest toothpaste. That's it. So a lot of the dentists are doing you a disservice, because when it comes to teeth, what you want to do is you want to have a toothpaste that contains some silver in it, maybe even aloe vera and a few other things, because it helps, kill the bacteria in there. And you want to take an herb called neem. Neem is, American Dental, and it's a lobby. They're corrupt. I've actually been wanting to kind of do a show on the ADA. But the ADA just basically like works for Crest, and they tell you all this bullshit, like this one's ADA approved and stuff like that. But they're the same people who will take that tooth out and then put a piece of fucking mercury or metal where the tooth is. So now you're poisoned in a root canal. Root canals are bad. Like, so if I had to pick something, I would get my tooth pulled and have a root canal instead of having all that drilling, all that trauma to the body and the chemicals they put in there. So we'll continue with copper, but copper is, like I said, copper has to be in the right ratio with zinc as well. And usually people have more zinc than they do copper, but it makes the copper not work the right way.
much copper can be toxic, so the body keeps a tight balance. You can find copper in shellfish, whole grains, nuts, beans, and organ meats. Most people get enough without trying, which is why copper deficiencies are rare, unless there's a problem with absorption. Phosphorus, the energy assistant. Phosphorus is the mineral that works with calcium to build strong bones and teeth, but it also has another major job, helping your body create and store energy.
I think it might be an electrolyte too.
Every cell in your body uses phosphorus to power itself. Low phosphorus is uncommon, but when it happens, it can cause weak muscles, bone pain, or fatigue.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying these minerals from the earth are so important. So if your body has, I don't know, 500 million cells, and 500 million cells are all low on this, that's 500 million small problems.
On the other hand, too much phosphorus, often from processed foods and sodas, can throw off calcium balance and weaken bones over time. You can
See how it's another one that weakens bones, because it's drawing from your bones.
find phosphorus in meat, dairy, nuts, beans, and whole grain.
Notice how meat was a ton of it. But again, you want meat that the cows are eating, like grass, weeds, not just like some grain-fed, corn-fed slop, Bill Gates poison, GMO hormone-ridden, retarded at cow meat.
Grains. Since it's in so many foods, most people get more than
And a lot of this takes other money. See, our grandparents had all this without all the bullshit. So they were just able to, have meat that wasn't like some retarded cow hormone. It was like organic, good meat. Since we have so many more people and people want to make money and stuff like that, they've speeded up the production process and everything. So they're like, oh, we have to just make this cow as big as fat as possible, then murder the shit out of it. So we're going to basically make the cow have a ton of inflammation, and then you're eating that.
enough without thinking about it. Manganese, the metabolism helper. Manganese is a trace mineral that helps your body process carbs, proteins, and
Again, all these are in basically the dirt.
fats. It also plays a role in forming
And all of this comes from dirt and is relevant from that.
bones and protecting cells from damage. You don't need much of it, but it
See bones again.
quietly supports your daily energy and metabolism. Low manganese is rare, but if levels drop too low, it can lead to weak bones, poor growth, or trouble with metabolism. On the other hand, too much manganese, especially from contaminated water or workplace exposure, can be harmful to the nervous system. You can get manganese from nuts, whole grains, leafy greens, and tea. Since the body only needs tiny amounts, most people hit their daily target without even trying. Chromium, the blood sugar assistant. Chromium helps your body use insulin, the hormone that controls blood sugar. It doesn't get much attention, but without
I think it kind of helps with weight loss a little bit too.
chromium, your cells have a harder time absorbing glucose for energy. That can leave you feeling tired and out of balance. A chromium deficiency is uncommon, but low levels may lead to poor blood sugar control, fatigue, or cravings. Some people think chromium supplements can melt fat, but research shows the effects are small. It's a helper, not a miracle worker. You can find chromium in whole grains, broccoli, potatoes, nuts, and meats. Even though you only need trace amounts,
See
chromium
how meat has been in every one of these? But the meat should be, you have to know what the cow is eating, or what how those animals live. So I have a little farm up the street and it's costs a ton more, but I think I'm just going to eat basically meat and stuff from there. It's up time to think, sheeple. We're gone on this health shit here. I'll summarize to you what we're talking about. So this is a video that we're going over various minerals, and I'm talking about the ones that I know a little bit about. And why am I talking about minerals? Because everything comes from the soil, again, from the earth. So when we spray with the soil, it's fucking it up. That's one thing that's adding to it. But the soil is mineral depleted. So you want cows and horses shitting and goats shitting all in that, and take a rototiller to it and rototill the hell out of it. that's what you want. All the shit that we have is like Scott's fertilizer, Bill Gates corn-fed retarded cow meat of goy slop. That's what we eat. So when you eat that, you don't have enough minerals. All these minerals affect the body in a very subtle way. So you're not quite sick, but you have a problem. So that's what we're going over.
Plays an important supporting role in keeping your energy steady. Fluoride, the tooth protector. Fluoride is best known for its role in protecting teeth. It helps.
Again, the ADA loves fluoride, fluoridated water and stuff. They're going to probably say, well, too much is not good for you.
Harden tooth enamel, making it stronger and more resistant to decay. Because of this, many communities add small amounts of fluoride to drinking water and toothpaste. Low fluoride isn't usually dangerous, but it can lead to weaker enamel and more cavities. On the other hand, too much fluoride can cause mild discoloration of teeth, or in rare cases,
and they use it to they used it in World War II to fuck with people and stuff. Fluoride is not good. So we don't need to. It's funny. So you only put fluoride in, huh? You only put fucking fluoride in the water, not anything else? Get the fuck out of here. The ADA is dog shit. They work for Crest. They don't give a shit. You only need a little bit of fluoride, very little bit. Like I said, your teeth and bones are just manifestations of minerals. And yeah, you do need some fluoride, but you know, they act like if all that was helping, why did people have, you know, why is your dental business booming?
Bone issues. Like,
again, bones and everything are just a ton of minerals.
Many minerals, balance matters. You can get fluoride from toothpaste, fluoridated water, tea, and some seafood. Most
get it from seafood or tea, guys.
People get enough without thinking about it, especially if they brush twice a day like their dentist begged them to. Molybdenum, the detox assistant. Molybdenum is a trace mineral that helps your body break down toxins and waste products. It activates enzymes that process sulfur, alcohol, and chemicals from food. You don't feel it working, but it plays a quiet role in keeping your system clean. Deficiency is extremely rare, but without enough molybdenum, the body can struggle to break down certain amino acids and toxins. Too much, however, can lead to joint problems. Though this is also rare, you can get molybdenum from beans, lentils, whole grains, and nuts.
Again, guys, most of us are not necessarily fully deficient, but we're depleted in all this. And the body is usually smart enough to piss it out, detox it, or use it for what it needs. So, you know, fluoride is one I definitely don't want you having too much of, but most of these, if anything, you're deficient. If anything, double what the RDA is telling you to do. Because the RDA doesn't want you healthy and thriving. They just want you like barely living so you can buy like fucking lotto tickets and stuff.
Because it's easy to find in common foods, most people meet their needs without effort. Chloride, the fluid balancer.
I think this is also an electrolyte as well.
Chloride works with sodium and potassium to keep your body's fluids and
yeah. These are electrolytes. So electrolytes are important, you know. So when you go outside and so the past few days has been really hot out. And sometimes when it's really hot out, I don't know if you guys have experienced this. Maybe you're working outside or something and you're sweating your ass off in this humidity, okay? And you have a shirt on, you're taking it off. When you go to take the shirt off, you can almost feel like a salt on it. That's minerals leaving the body. And that is these electrolytes basically leaving the body. Electrolytes also kind of help electric signals be sent through the body, basically. It's another thing that they do.
Balance. It also helps maintain proper acidity in your stomach so you can digest food. Think of chloride as part of the plumbing system that keeps everything flowing. Low chloride is uncommon, but it can happen with severe vomiting, dehydration, or certain
dehydration
medications. When levels drop, you may feel weak, dehydrated, or dizzy. High levels usually come from the same causes that raise sodium.
Poison.
You can get chloride from table salt, sodium chloride.
Don't even have fucking table salt. Sea salt, pink salt.
Seaweed, tomatoes, celery, and olives. Since it often comes bundled with sodium, most people get plenty. Sometimes even too much. Sulfur, the protein stabilizer. Sulfur helps your body build and protect proteins, including
Like we talked about sulfur before, it can help with joints. I think it's like the third most used thing in the body. Detoxification, many things. And one of the most common supplements that we use of sulfur is called MSM. Yeah, I'm going to do more videos on this type of stuff, Lauren. This was a good video, though. Like I knew kind of most of these minerals, but some of them I did not. And they give you just enough information, but not too much. I just kind of found this one on the fly, but the minerals are, that's what I was talking about, like the earth, how to help. This is the point of this show was here. No, not this one. This live will be on using the earth to help heal yourself. That's what this, like all these are just from the earth. All these should be in the plants and everything all the time, but we're becoming deficient because we're kind of raping the earth. Not like a great thing to help get all the mineral content higher is like rototill the shit out of your gardens.
keratin, the stuff that makes up your hair, skin, and nails. It also supports your liver as it processes toxins, making sulfur a low-key supporter of both beauty and detox. Since sulfur is found in many protein-rich foods, deficiencies are rare. But if levels drop too low, it may lead.
Sulfur is also in like white foods, onion, garlic, stuff like that. I think another great way that you can get sulfur actually is, again, go out in the morning on the morning dew barefoot. That helps the body absorb more sulfur as well because it's like a part of that sulfur cycle. So if you can do that, that's really gonna be helping.
To weak hair, brittle nails, or slow healing. Most people never have to think about sulfur because it tags along with amino acids in food. You can get sulfur from meat, fish, eggs, garlic, onions, and legumes. If it has protein or a strong smell, sulfur is probably involved.
Yeah. Let me give this guy a thumbs up. This was like an awesome video. Like and subscribe.
If I told you your body runs on tiny invisible
We'll
chemicals with names that sound like bad Wi-Fi passwords.
Well, also too, I just part of what the point that I'm trying to drive home here is like, get outside, get fresh air, go swimming, doing all these things when you're interacting with the earth. Go in the woods, hug a tree, build a fire. These things psychologically also help with the mental health. And we've come from an agricultural people, cavemen, to agricultural people, to industrial people, and then it's going to be to like fucking AI people. So we're getting just weaker and weaker because we're not out in the environment doing things as much. Like I'm doing tree work. I'm cutting trees. I'm logging. I'm out in the woods. I'm in it. But you always feel way better when you get your hands dirty and do all that. It really is really good. If you can work out, do it outside. Go in the rain. Do that shit. We'll go over the mineral one too. I mean, the vitamin one as well.
B.
Let me actually go back and say, hey, awesome video. Let me just go back.
Your body needs over a.
Make sure. And this guy is called Explain the Things. This video rocks, pun intended. Because basically minerals are like rocks too. Awesome job, man. Your video rocks, pun intended. I featured this video. Live stream on using the earth to help us heal. Now I will give the, sorry about this, guys. I just want to take some time to do this. And then I'm going to copy it, and I will do it one more time for this video here.
If I told you your body runs on time.
Okay, now vitamins. So, yeah, so minerals are one thing. Vitamins are also massively important. The RDA, recommended daily allowance and stuff, is dog shit. It's dog shit. There's so many different things. Everyone's a different individual. If someone drinks, they need more of this. If someone's not out in the sun, they need to take a shit more vitamin D. If you live way up north, you need more vitamin D. If you're sick, you can take 10 times the vitamin C they tell you to take in a day. If you're, we need it, some of them, if you take too much vitamin E, it can be toxic. But the levels that they're going to tell you are toxic are usually, well, they usually don't talk about toxic, but the amount that they want you to take and say this is what your body requires is dog shit. And RFK is not going to help or anything like that. You kind of almost have to, you can speak with your doctor and stuff, but there's a point where you have to kind of use intuition and learn how your body reacts to certain vitamins. Vitamins on their own are okay to take, but I really want you guys taking them from herbs that are grown organically and all that, because they can work in a more complex way. So we'll take vitamin C, for example. I'd rather see somebody have a lot of vitamin C from, I don't know, lemons or something like that, than just take vitamin C. But that's besides the point. We'll just focus on the vitamins. So like vitamin C, for example, the RDA is very low. You can, and I've read a whole book on vitamin C. A couple of them, well, audiobooks on vitamin C. So vitamin C sort of kind of helps everything a little bit to a degree. So when you're sick, you can have a ton of vitamin C. Like if you just took a lot of vitamin C, the worst thing that would happen is you would just, shit your brains out, basically. And even that is kind of good. Vitamin C can pull a lot of things from the body. Since our insurance and medical system is so fucked up, they make it so you have to like put a gun to their head to get vitamin C. And so you can do, there's first off, there's several types of vitamin C, and all these vitamins, there's several like types of the vitamin. Okay. And I don't mean brand by manufacturer. So vitamin C, for example, you can do intravenous vitamin C. What is that? Well, that's a vitamin C that goes into your vein from, the bag and stuff. That is highly, highly therapeutic, but you will never see and it's very cheap, but if you ask the doctor or nurse to do that, they're going to look at you like you're high. But it's like, yeah, I want a mega dose vitamin C. Mega dose vitamin C. That's what you want. You're feeling bad, mega dose that shit. Okay. Liposomal vitamin C, a different type of vitamin C. Liposomal vitamin C is basically like vitamin C that's kind of surrounded in some fat to be more absorbable. Okay. Ascorbic acid isn't the only type of vitamin C. Yeah, I tend to trash doctors and stuff a little bit, but like I'm just doing it because the industry in general. So I'm trying to think of a food that's high in vitamin C and iron that you could like go pretty hard on. I can't think of one off the top of my head. But vitamin C is like a universal helper. If you're ever feeling sick, take way more vitamin C. Vitamin C really, really helps. Yeah, I have a cynical view towards it, and it's kind of a little bit of my shtick, I guess, on YouTube. But we'll get into the vitamins here.
Tiny invisible chemicals with names that sound like bad Wi-Fi passwords. B12KD3. You might laugh, but without them, your skin cracks, your blood thins, your bones snap, and your brain misfires. These microscopic players.
And why did he say those three? I'm going to go back to that. So when you're taking vitamin D3, so most people when they say they're taking vitamin D, okay, so I live in the north, okay. I can't just get as much sunlight as I'm getting now when I'm going paddleboarding all fucking day and snorkeling and fucking off. Okay, I can't just live like, you know, someone like that, because I'm not vitamin D deficient because I'm getting it from the sunlight. Okay, I have to end up supplementing it and taking it from foods. So vitamin D is almost like one of those ones like it's magnesium, where the vitamin D is like responsible for like several hundred things within your body. So it needs it for that. So vitamin D can end up affecting your mood, your energy, if you're depressed or not, how your immune system is, if your dick works or not, a bunch of things. And they usually pair it with K because K drives it into the bones. So that's one reason why they're saying that, having those two together. B12 is for like energy production. So when you get to the B vitamins, like, so in some other countries, they might just prescribe you like B vitamins instead of like Adderall and stuff like that to give you some more energy and things like that.
You might laugh, but without them, your skin cracks, your blood thins, your bones snap, and your brain misfires. These microscopic players, they're vitamins. And today we're breaking down every single one you actually need. Vitamin A. Vitamin A is the reason you can see in the dark, or at least why you don't trip over your coffee
Vitamin A is like, you know, carrots.
table every night. It's essential for your eyes, skin, and immune system. Without it, your vision starts to fail, your skin dries out like old leather, and your body's defenses collapse. Back in history, vitamin A deficiency was a serious problem. In some parts of the world, children literally went blind because their diets lacked it. That's why golden rice, genetically modified rice packed with vitamin A, was invented, sparking debates that still rage today. You'll find vitamin A in foods like carrots, sweet potatoes, spinach, and liver.
See how these two are like orange? That's like more of a vitamin A thing.
Yes, liver. The food everyone pretends.
Yeah. So again, when I was talking about liver, I don't know if any of you guys have cats in here. I did a video on cats, how to help your cat live longer and stuff like that. So when you're buying the different wet food for your cat, which I said I want you to have about 3 different wet foods on hand and 3 different kibbles on hand, but try to go for the liver. You can get, you can get liver, heart, turkey giblets and shit. You kind of want that, but particular liver and heart, because it's just wet food. They don't really care, but liver and heart are really, really good. It's just a more nutritious thing to give your cats.
To enjoy once a year, but secretly hates. Too little, and your night vision.
Also, too, like liver helps liver. So if you're eating liver, even from another animal, it helps your liver. Eating heart, it helps your heart, so on and so forth.
Fades. Too much, and your skin might turn orange. Balance is key. Vitamin B, the complex crew. Vitamin B isn't just one vitamin. It's an entire extended family, and like most families, it's confusing. There's B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, B7, B9, and B12.
So when you go to get an energy drink, okay, it's always going to have, or a lot of them are going to have B3. B3 is niacin. B3, if you take it, it kind of actually can give you like a buzz. It almost feels like your skin is tingling a little bit because it's helping your circulation, like epidermal circulation, I believe it's called. B12 is also used in energy production. So when you go to get some energy drinks and stuff, you're usually going to have B3 and B12 for sure.
Notice there's no B4, B8, B10, or B11. Scientists skipped those like bad movie sequels. Each B vitamin has a job. B1, thiamine. Keeps your nerves firing. Without it, you get beriberi.
Again, I don't know all these. I'm just trying to share what I do know about it and why.
A disease that once wiped out sailors who ate nothing but polished rice. B2.
And then after this video, I'm going to call it a night.
Riboflavin. Helps turn food into energy. Fun fact, it makes your urine neon yellow. If you've ever taken a multivitamin and thought you were glowing, thank B2. B3, niacin, fuels metabolism.
Yeah.
Deficiency causes pellagra. Nicknamed the 3Ds, dermatitis, diarrhea.
Yeah, B3 also can help with mood. I've heard a thing where they give like massive doses to vitamin B3 to like schizophrenics and stuff, and to like help them a shit ton. B3 is really powerful. Sometimes it's just called niacin, but B3 is really good stuff. Like for example, there's like a brand of energy drink called like C4. It's mostly just like niacin in there. That's mostly like what it is.
And dementia. Not exactly a fun package deal. B5, pantothenic acid, supports hormone production. It's everywhere in food, so deficiency is rare. Lucky break. B6, pyridoxine, critical for brain function. Without it, you risk confusion and anemia.
Again, like I said, in other countries, they may just give you, if you have confusion and bullshit like that, lack of focus, they might just give you a bunch of B vitamins. Like again, like a mega dose, not the goyim dose they tell you to have here, which doesn't do shit.
Yeah. B7, biotin, marketed as the hair, skin, and nails vitamin. Influencers love it.
Yeah, it's the beauty vitamin.
But most people already get enough from their diet. B9, folate, crucial for making DNA and preventing birth defects. Pregnant women are told to stock up. B12, cobalamin, the heavyweight. Without it, your nervous system malfunctions, your red blood cells deform, and fatigue hits you like a truck. You'll find B vitamins in meat, eggs, leafy greens, and grains.
See how meat and eggs are almost in all of them?
Vegans especially struggle with B12 since it mostly comes from animal products. That's why supplements exist. The B family doesn't get as much spotlight as vitamin C or D, but without them, your body basically stalls like a car with no fuel. Vitamin C. Vitamin C is the celebrity of the vitamin world. It's the one everyone thinks of when they catch a cold. Even though research shows it doesn't actually prevent colds, at best it might shorten how long you're stuck sneezing. Still, its importance is undeniable. The biggest historical lesson in vitamin C deficiency was scurvy.
Scurvy.
For centuries, sailors on long voyages wasted away. Bleeding gums, rotting
Yeah, rotting teeth, bleeding gums. So this is what I was trying to say too about the mouth earlier. The gums require a shit ton of vitamin C. When you go to like brush your teeth, you're like grinding your gums, okay? And that takes time, that takes recovery. The best thing that you can do for your teeth is you take neem, N-E-E. So I'm going to put it in the chat. Neem, which is a tree, plus vitamin C. High dose. Wait. C. Okay. Neem is a tree. And why is it important for this? Neem stops the bacteria that creates gingivitis altogether. It's called like L-gingivalis or something like that. So anytime I have any type of mouth problem or something like that, I have neem and vitamin C, and it'll always go away. Always. Always, always, always. It never will fail. So any of you who have a, you know, your teeth are hurting, gums are bleeding, shit like that. So when you have bleeding gums and stuff like that, that's indications of other things in the body that are going wrong too. But sometimes it's just a lack of vitamin C and minerals. Most of it's really minerals, the vitamins too, but a lot of it is really minerals that are the culprit here. Deficient in minerals.
Teeth, fragile bones, until someone realized citrus fruits were the cure. That's why British sailors earned the nickname limeys. Not because they loved gin and tonics, but because limes saved their lives. On a biological level, vitamin C is essential for producing collagen, the protein that keeps your skin firm, your blood vessels strong, and your wounds able to heal.
And like I said, vitamin C kind of goes along and helps out pretty much everything. I've heard a story like, but again, mega dose that shit. Not every day, all the time, but now and then, mega dose that shit.
It's also a powerful antioxidant, protecting your cells from damage. You'll find it in oranges, strawberries, bell peppers, broccoli, and yes, limes. The human body can't make it or store much of it, so you need a steady supply from your diet. Go without it, and your body literally falls apart. Vitamin D. Vitamin D isn't really a vitamin. It's more like
It's like a hormone.
hormone your body makes when sunlight hits your skin. That's why it's called the sunshine vitamin. Without it, your bones soften, your muscles weaken, and your immune system struggles. Historically, vitamin D deficiency caused rickets, a disease that left children with bowed legs and fragile skeletons, especially in industrial cities where smog blocked sunlight. Doctors eventually realized that just letting kids play outside or adding vitamin D to milk could wipe it out. Vitamin D helps your body absorb calcium, making it essential for bone strength. But it doesn't stop there. It also supports mood regulation and immune defenses. Low levels are linked to fatigue, depression, and higher risks of illness.
Yeah. Seasonal depression. Like I have seasonal depressions in the wintertime. So you have to take vitamin D and even some other stuff.
You can get it from sunlight, fatty fish, fortified milk.
Like, I am not fully against pharmaceuticals. I do talk a lot of shit about them just because I see how corrupt that they can be.
And supplements. But here's the irony. Modern life keeps us indoors, covered in sunscreen, staring at
Get outside, interact with the earth. That's been my whole message here.
screens. So even though rickets sounds like an ancient disease, vitamin D deficiency is making a quiet comeback today. Vitamin E. Vitamin E is the quiet bodyguard of your cells. It's a powerful antioxidant, which means it protects your cell membranes from damage, like rust-proofing for your body. Without it, your cells would be under constant attack from free radicals, the unstable molecules that speed up aging and disease. Historically, vitamin E deficiency is rare, but when it happens, it can cause nerve and muscle damage, vision problems, and
Yeah, I think I was actually low in vitamin E when I did my hair test thing.
weakened immune
Vitamin E and selenium, actually, which those are sort of an easy fix.
system. Think tremors, muscle weakness, and difficulty coordinating movement. Symptoms nobody wants.
And I have been feeling weaker lately.
You'll find
Where
vitamin
I was.
E in nuts, seeds, vegetable oils, and leafy greens. Almonds and sunflower seeds are especially rich sources.
Yeah. So sunflower seeds are I like using that instead of olive oil or coconut oil as sunflower oil. Tastes awesome. A lot of like Russian places, they have like candy bars and little like cakes and cookies that are like basically just various forms of sunflower seeds, and they taste fucking awesome.
While supplement companies love to push high-dose vitamin E pills,
No, so vitamin E is like one of the only ones that can become kind of dangerous if you take too much.
research shows too much can actually be harmful, potentially increasing risks for certain health problems instead of solving them. So, while vitamin E might not have the fame of vitamin C or the sunshine appeal of vitamin D, it's quietly working behind the scenes, keeping your cells safe from daily wear and tear. Vitamin K. Vitamin K is the vitamin you don't hear much about until you start bleeding. Its main job is blood clotting. Without it, even a tiny paper cut could, in theory, turn into a much bigger problem. It helps your body activate proteins that stop bleeding and also plays a role in bone health. The K actually comes from
it drives things into the bone.
the German word coagulation. Back in the 1920s,
That's cool. I didn't know that.
scientists noticed chickens fed a fat-free diet started bleeding internally. Turns out, without fat, the birds couldn't absorb vitamin K and their bodies couldn't
So another thing too, which I don't know if they're going to cover this, is some vitamins are fat soluble. So you want it. That's why they say oftentimes take them with a meal, because you need some fats to help transport it and do what it needs to do. Also, it kind of helps drive it through the body, I guess. And if your body's already going to be digesting food and kicking all that into gear, it should do it. It just can work in unison.
clot blood properly. You'll find vitamin K in leafy greens like spinach, kale, and broccoli, as well as in vegetable oils. There are actually two main types. K1, found in plants,
K2 is the one that helps. That's often paired with vitamin D.
and K2, found in animal products and fermented foods like cheese and natto. A sticky Japanese soybean dish that smells like old socks but is packed with nutrients. While deficiencies are rare, newborn babies are especially vulnerable, which is why hospitals give them vitamin K shots right after birth.
So one other thing about Japan, one of the places where they live the longest is Okinawa, Japan. And what do they do there? They live a very simple life. They eat, they go out on their paddle board or their little boat, fish the whole day in the sunlight, and eat seaweed and shit like that. And then so they're getting exercise, but they're getting the seafoods, particularly iodine. So iodine is one of the things they noticed that was common that helped them live the longest. But they're interacting with the earth the whole day. I'm considering the ocean, interacting with the earth in this case. Getting their own food, so basically hunting it, in this case fishing, and having the food without any middleman between it, pasteurizing it or quote preserving it.
So we've
Or adding
seen how
chemicals and
vitamins are
stuff.
less like magic pills and more like hidden building blocks, quietly deciding whether your body thrives or falls apart. But here's the twist. Vitamins are only half the story. Your body also depends on minerals like iron, zinc, and magnesium, the microscopic metals that power everything from your heartbeat to your brain. Miss one of those, and the consequences make vitamin deficiencies look tame. And that's where things get really strange.
Cool, I did subscribe. I like this guy's channel. So I'll end it with one little last thing that has to do with the minerals, the health, all this. And I was not planning to do this, but I'm going to do a little bit of a shameless plug here. Okay. And I'm going to include, in fact, let me go do it. I'll show you this first. So, this, I work for or I can refer people for this now, called the Life Giving Store. And I've done a show on it, but you're going to go products, zeolite. So I've done a whole similar show to how we almost just did this, but on zeolite and with zeolites in general, what they are, how to use them, how they are with various things. Zeolite is equally as important as all those things, if not maybe even more important. And it's also a mineral. So I'm going to put that in the chat before I go out. And this is usually always this price, but I can save you 15% on it by doing my link thing here. This will save anything off in the store. But they have, oh shit. Hang on, I don't think I copied that the right way. So I'm going to just add this here. And I'm getting tired. But this will be the link. And they have a whole bunch of vitamins and everything here that will, hook it up. So, and unique stuff, EMF blocking things and a whole bunch of things. So I'm going to be doing some more shows on this about health, but this one was more about how the earth can help heal you and how to operate with it in harmony. So, hope you guys have a great night. I hope you learned something. I hope I gave you some value. And like and subscribe if you're new. Hype some of the videos and go look at some of my other health and healing videos. I want to get more into this. Have a great night, guys and gals.